Hi everyone, this is Victoria and welcome to Victoria.zip. This is a channel where I plan to start uploading more videos related to my crafts. Actually, right now I'm really into knitting, so expect to see a lot about that, but I also enjoy other things such as crochet or embroidery. If you want, you can check that on my Instagram account, which is Victoria.zip. So as this is the first video, I wanted to start by introducing myself and telling you a little bit more about my knitting journey. As I mentioned before, I am Victoria. I am 27 years old and I am from Uruguay. I started knitting this year actually. It was one of my 2023 goals. But my story with knitting goes way back. When I was like 6 years old, I told my parents that I wanted to learn how to knit. And at that time, we lived in a small village and there were no craft stores nearby. So my dad decided to make me a pair of knitting needles. These ones, they are extremely heavy, but I keep them as a treasure because it was a gift from him. So my mom at that time tried to teach me how to knit, but I just couldn't. And I have tried to learn how to knit all my life and I just couldn't. And it was so frustrating to me because I tend to be, I'm not saying, it's just I tend to be good at crafting. I usually get the hang of it pretty quickly, and with knitting it was impossible. And I remember that I think it was at the end of 2021, YouTube suggested me some what I did this year videos, and I started watching blogs and podcasts from knitters in the YouTube community, and I fell in love with knitting, and that made me want to start knitting. So I learned, or I tried to learn again, but this time I decided to make things different. Instead of trying to knit with straight needles, I got a set of circular needles from AliExpress. Not that expensive. I was just trying, so I didn't want to invest too much money on it. And I decided to look for YouTube videos because I just can't learn how to knit from my mother. And after I started to watch YouTube videos, learning about the continental and the English style of knitting, I came to the realization that my mother knits weird. I don't know how she knits. Like, it's not in any of those styles or any other style that I have seen online. It's weird. That's the only way I can describe it. She kind of twists all her stitches, but they come untwisted. So after getting the hang of continental knitting, I decided that I wanted to knit something, but I didn't want to knit a scarf. So I started looking for tutorials here on YouTube, and I found that Handmade with Florence has a YouTube tutorial together with a free pattern to make a sweater, a step-by-step sweater, and I was able to make it. It was super cool because it was my first thing ever. Keep in mind that the only things I knew how to do at that moment were how to cast on, knit and purl. So every other thing I had to do, it was thanks to that video. So it's great. I really think I can recommend that to beginners. The sweater turned out great. It's super comfy and I have been wearing it a lot. The sweater, I made it with La Seda from Círculo on the colorway 8001 Branco. It's an iron weight yarn. Let me check. Made with 70% of acrylic and 30% of wool. And even though it has a great percentage of acrylic, the yarn is extremely soft and has a nice warmth to it. So that was my first ever crochet project. And for the following two ones, I'm not going to mention the yarn because I don't know where I got it from. After the sweater, I decided that I wanted to do a vest, and I also decided to search on YouTube, and I found a pattern by Menanits. I follow it. It was super good. It was super clear. So the yarn I used to make that vest, it was actually from a crochet sweater that I did like last year, but I just didn't wear it too much because the yarn was too bulky and 100% acrylic, so I couldn't figure out which was the correct weather to wear that sweater. So that's how I ended up with a vest, and as I had three colors, I decided that I wanted a checkered vest, and I had to learn how to do intarsia. I know that if you look at the vest close by, you can see that it's not the neatest intarsia, but I don't care. I don't know a lot of people who needs, so nobody's going to notice that. You know, I had heard that crochet ate yarn like crazy, and I was able to prove that by doing that vest and still having a lot of yarn left, and that's how I ended up with this sweater. So this is the third garment I made. It's actually the same pattern as the first one. This is the step-by-step sweater by Made with Florence. I need this pattern again because it's great and it was easy to follow, but I had to choose a smaller size because I didn't meet gauge, and on that process I think I did something wrong because the sleeves, I feel like they are a little bit too big compared to the body. But anyways, it's just because I don't know how to count. It's like I'm not an accountant, or I have been working on finance the past few years. That's not me. That couldn't be me. I don't know how to count. I did mention that I tore off the original one because it was too bulky, but actually knitting doesn't make the fabric that bulky as crochet. It's crazy how it changed. So I did mention that I have been watching knitting podcasts long before I started knitting, and there was a point on time where everyone started making the Ingrid sweater by Petit Knit, and I must confess that that sweater like made me want to start knitting because I feel like it's top tier handmade thing. It's amazing. Like, I don't have enough words to describe it. So I was actually like really keen on the idea of being able to make that sweater someday. So once I became friends with needles, I kept watching people making that sweater, and I kind of got an idea of how it was made. So I just decided to make it because I knew it was going to be hard, but I trust myself in some things. So I got the pattern, and this is how it's going. I don't know if you can appreciate it through the camera. It's doing great. Actually, the process has been quite smooth. everything I have had to frog, it has been because I don't pay attention to the pattern and I do whatever I want. Actually, today I realized that this crisscross pattern is wrong. It should be longer, but I don't care because the sweater is looking quite long. Let me stand up a little bit. So I'm already starting to do the ribbing, so I think it will be okay. So I was lucky enough to make a mistake that will make everything work for me at the end. That's how brilliant I am. But anyways, the pattern has been great so far. I feel that everything is really well explained, and I actually understand why everyone loves petite knits so much. The pattern is super clear, and even though I am a complete beginner, I was able to make all of this. So I'm knitting this with some yarn that a relative gave me. It's quite fussy. I don't know what it is. Held together with some random sock yarn I found at my supermarket. I think it's German. I think it is German because everything is written in German and I can't understand anything that it says on the labels. Only that is 70% acrylic and 25% polyamides. But I don't even know which is the colorway of this thing. At the beginning I was quite worried because this yarn, the one that was given to me by my relative, is quite fuzzy, so I thought the design might get a little bit lost. But I think it's looking pretty cool, pretty great, and you can see it. You still can see the pattern, so I'm happy with how this thing is looking. The experience of making this sweater has been so fun. I have been able to learn something new each row, so I've been pretty interested to keep knitting because I'm like anxious to see how this will end up looking. The next thing I have to do after I finish the ribbing is the sleeves. I'm actually a little bit scared of the sleeves because I have seen quite a few people talking here on YouTube, but it was quite difficult and it wasn't that well explained. But I'm going to trust myself and look for the tips that I have seen online. And I also saw that Petite Knit has a video explaining something about the sleeves on her site, so I hope it works out at the end. If not, I will end up with a vest, which can be a pretty cool vest. I will keep working on this and keep you posted. Right now, the second season of Good Omens is out. Yesterday, I watched the 2 first episodes and they were amazing. So I'm probably going to finish the reading while watching that series. So if you are here, thank you for sticking with me till the end. I truly appreciate your support. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them down below. I will try to link every pattern and yarn I mentioned on the description. And yeah, happy knitting. See you next time. Bye bye.